1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the 10 dog sport commandments. Welcome to today's episode of the Dog Training Dogma podcast with your host, Jonathan Katz. Always in the studio, Hood Rat Heather.
Hello, hello.
The Hitman's bodyguard is always by my side. I appreciate you, Heather.
I appreciate you.
So today we are going to do the 10 dog sport commandments. So the 10 dog sport commandments, again, like we just made these up, right? If we're going to only pick 10, there's a lot. And I actually polled Instagram. I asked all my followers, what would be your dog sport commandments, right? So this is the 10 that we put together for dog sports specific, right? Like competing specific, as opposed to, I have an entire list of, just random, right? Things that are either people pet peeves or things to do, things not to do, right? So the 10 dog sport commandments. Commandment 1. Thou shalt always respect the dog. Bottom line, we are here for the dogs. It is dog sports, right? It is dog training. We are here for the dog. Without the dog, we have no job. I am jobless. I'll go back. I'll be working in a kitchen. But I am dog jobless. There's no dog, right? The dog. Thou shalt respect the dog. If the dog makes a mistake in trial, it is never the dog's fault. It is always your fault. It is your fault because you didn't teach the dog how to do it properly. So it has to always reflect. It's the reflection on the parent of the child. Commandment number 2, thou shalt respect the sport. We have a lot of people come into sport, especially like personal protection people. They come in and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna do this really quick. And they're thinking about it like it's a street mentality. And this is a very formal, all dog sports, right? There's a organization, there's a formality to it. There's a way that the trials are run, there's a way that people have to interact, the social aspect of it. This isn't just, like dogs biting crackheads in the park.
Stepping on the field is a lot harder than it looks.
Stepping on the field is a lot harder than it looks. And because of that, people don't always have respect for the sport. I had 2 people this season start fights with me as a judge. 2 people in one season. First of all, I'm a volunteer. First of all, I'm there giving up of my time. I'm not working. I'm working. I'm not getting paid. I am there as a volunteer. And people coming and giving me attitude. Like, a guy can't pass obedience and he just keeps getting mad at me. What did I do in your training that you keep getting mad at me? It's laughable. I did not do anything. And he didn't only fail under me, he failed under other judges. So it's not like it's just a me thing. I've had people be like, well, why does Katz have a problem with me? Katz doesn't have a problem with you. Katz has a problem with the way that you trained your dog, of that it's not doing the things that it's supposed to do. So thou shalt respect the sport by way of, like, if things don't go your way, like, this is what you entered. This is what you decided to enter your dog into this, like, formal thing. So I'm sorry, but there's some formality to it. You got to be a little bit formal to an extent. No one's asking you to wear a suit and tie, but everything's going to have its formalities, right? Commandment number 3, thou shalt respect the judge. Again, 2 people in one season start a fucking fight with me. Are you fucking serious? One guy corrected the dog on the field. And, PDC handlers they're new, they're nervous, right? I know what it felt like to do my PDC for the first time. I was fucking nervous. So I understand that people are nervous, and when people get nervous, they revert to foundation and little compulsory corrections. The rule book specifically states that any correction on the field should be an automatic disqualification. But I feel like in a PDC, one light, oh my God, I messed up, sorry, no problem, don't do it again. The guy then goes to the critique and then does it again. And I look at him and I go, stop correcting the dog. It is so disrespectful. Anytime someone corrects the dog on the trial field, you are disrespecting the field. You are disrespecting the sport, and you are disrespecting the judge. Because you did not train your dog properly. There's a reason why the dog fucked you off. That is not anyone else's fault but yours.
Don't take it out on the dog.
Never take it out on the dog. It is not the dog's fault. Commandment number 4. Thou shalt respect the decoys. The decoys are volunteers. Every time I'm finishing judging a trial and I'm doing an award ceremony, and I'm like, guys, like these decoys, these men and women put on their suits for free. They're suits that are expensive that they paid for. They learn how to do this. They go to the camps. All of this is on their own dime. And then we then ask them to go and run around in 170-degree heat. So like when our decoys come here for trial, we pamper them. Like to as much as we possibly can. We feed them as much as we can. You know, my level of respect for the decoys is when I cook for trials, I make extra and I keep it to the side. And then as the trial's like winding down, I start like heating it up. So, because I know that the second the trial's over, the decoys are going to want to eat. The judge is going to want to eat. Some judges eat, some judges don't. I'm not usually a big eater. I'm like the decoys. Let's get this job done. Let's get it over with. And then when the stress is alleviated, I'll then eat. But if I sit down and eat for 45 minutes, you know, like, and digest, now you're just taking 45 minutes extra to the trial. I have a little bit of extra time in the middle of the trial. It's a slower day. Sure, I might sit down and eat depending on how I'm feeling. But at the end of the trial, they are going to get not leftover food, an extra portion of, you know, one trial we made, it was hibachi chicken fried rice and grilled shrimp skewers. And I even brought, you know, as a chef, you always have to be worried about cross-contamination. Some people have shellfish allergies. And so I brought a separate small grill and I grilled the shrimp on that so nothing would ever come in contact, so that we can try to be able to feed everyone. I had a separate portion that I did not add chicken to for people that were vegetarians. You know, vegan people just got fried rice. They just got white rice. There's nothing else, you know, but like the idea was I made an extra portion of white rice, of the vegetables, of the chicken, shrimps to the side. And then the second, the threes are starting to wind down. The last dog, second to last dog's on the field. Okay, I'm going to start cooking it up so that right when the trial is over, that is my respect for the decoys, for thanking them for all their hard work for free. Like, I'm willing to work for free if it's something I'm passionate about, if it's something I care about. Why have I spent the last 10 years judging PSA trials? For what money? It is a thank you to the sport that gave me the venue to display my skill set and my dogs. It is the sport that I truly enjoy and I love. And so for that, I'm going to be selfless. And I'm going to now, it's like 29, almost 30 days of trial this season. I'm judging, right? It's not because I want to control anything. It's because people ask me and I'm a bleeding heart and I hate saying no. And it's not because I'm easy. It's because people like me, because I have good bedside manner. I'm easy to talk to. If you're not an asshole, I'm not going to treat you like an asshole, you know? Because if you look statistically, like it's not like, oh, okay, well, and I've heard that before. I've heard, well, cats is easy or cats is hard. You can't make anyone happy. They're either one side or the other side. Like, the most important thing to me is consistency. If I'm going to hit someone for those points, they're going to get hit on it. And as I said before, like when I trial, I'm going to use the least amount of handler help. I'll use handler help if I need to get my dog through something, but that's the game. But like in the ones, I don't need handler help. So I don't want to be there and like, sit. I'm talking, sit. And then, you know, I'm judging someone in trial and I'm like, oh, handler help. And they're like, you fucking do that shit too, Jonathan. Right? So like I want to be very respectful towards what I do by making sure that I'm going to be as correct as it's supposed to be to help set a standard, because the upper level competitors, they set standards, right? Number 5, sportsmanship over winning. Sportsmanship is so important. Like, when people ask me, I want to be a judge, what are the qualifications for being a PSA judge? The qualifications are, you need to have shown a dog in the 2s, okay? But you have to also have shown exemplary sportsmanlike conduct. You have to have been who people can, use you as an example of what is sportsmanship, as opposed to the opposite. Like, I've had competitors, like, they'll throw parties for themselves, and that is not sportsmanship. Like, it goes back to respect the sport. All right. Sportsmanship, sport, like, like, can you Google for me, what is the actual, I got your phone. I have your phone. I'm going to Google it. Hey Siri, what is the definition of sportsmanship?
As a noun, sport means an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. Do you want to hear the next one?
Yes, read the next one. The next one's better.
Sport is an informal term. As a noun, it means a person who behaves in a good or specified way in response to teasing, defeat, or a similarly trying situation.
No. Thank you, Siri. I appreciate you. Siri's new assistant. Someone that behaves in a certain manner.
No sore winners and no sore losers.
Mm-hmm. So then those commandment number 6, win with grace. So when you do win, you don't throw a fucking party. Again, when you're back with your team, like every time I've won a trial, when I won nationals, I took the entire club out for dinner, and I paid for the entire dinner, and we ate and we drank and we celebrated, but we celebrated together as a family, like not on the field, like win with grace, right? When we were writing these, I was trying to think about like another word for grace. I couldn't think of anything else. I was like, when I went through the thesaurus, that was, number 7, lose with grace.
Mm-hmm. Huge.
Fuck. People take losing so hard, but they get angry. Like they're mad, they're big mad, but who are they big mad at?
Everyone but themselves.
You can only be big mad at yourself. Mm-hmm. There's no one else. Mm-hmm. Unless someone else fucked you. But most of the failures, again, like PSA has the failure rate. I know Clay did the statistics a few years ago, but it was like, to a PSA 3 has maybe a 16, depending on the season, has a 16% pass rate. 16%, and then the 2s is like a 25% pass rate. That's a 75% failure rate. The 1s have like a 50% fail rate, or it was like 35. And then I think a PDC was like a 50-50 or 45-55. But still, the failure rate is so high. You have to know what it is going into it. If you've gone into PSA saying, I'm going to never fail, and then this is only going to be happy roses, like, fuck that. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're going to fail at some point, or you're not going to fail. And then when you get to the 3s, you're going to have a big failure there. I've seen that happen many times, right? The guy that decided that he was going to get the dog from PDC to into the 3s at nationals. So in one season. So from PDC to PSA 3, not closing out a 3, but showing in the 3s. He showed at the same nationals in 2010 that I showed at, And I was friendly with the guy. I watched the guy all season. And I was like, good for you, man. Like, whatever your goals are, if you can get it done. But I'm also would say you're putting a lot of pressure on this dog. You're showing this dog a lot of pictures really quickly, right? Goes to nationals. In protection, the dog gets ran in a guard. And second decoy comes by, bucket of water, dog is gone. Dog is like boom, 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 boom. No prey bite, gone. Is that dog's fault? The dog was a nice dog. Dog was a good dog. Wasn't an apex predator, but you don't need an apex predator to do this. So like, you just need a good, strong dog with heart. Dog that wants to work for you. So, like, the dog was a good dog. Any other person that didn't push that dog that much, well, it was the guard as a specific behavior. He had spent so much time forcing with an e-collar the dog to guard that the dog said, I can't win here, so I'm going to leave. But that's not the mindset I want my dog to have. I never want my dog to have that. I would rather my dog make the wrong decision. I would rather the dog bite than go, well, I'm going to leave this, right? Especially when it comes to just regular pressure. So in the threes, that's going to happen. What's the percentages? Your dog's going to be attacked by another decoy. Now, depending on where I'm standing, depending on how I can handle it, but realistically, the dog should know how many. We've shown Bandit a few times, right? That, you know, when you're in a guard and another decoy comes by and, you know, like dumps a bucket of water on you, you're supposed to turn around and bite, right? So you don't want to do it too much because then you'll create boogeyman and the dog will be like not wanting to pay attention to the guard and constantly looking around. But there's a 2% chance, 5% chance that it could happen. So your head should be in a little bit of a swivel, even though you're staring at the decoys in the upper levels, because so much is going on, right? So just losing with grace, like take the L and go home every year in a row from 2011 to whatever the fuck year. I took national vice champion, second place every year, whatever level I was in, every year, right? So what was the learning lesson each time? The drive home, like trying to dissect why didn't I win, right? Why was that not my year? Why was this not my year? Why was this not my year, right? We have to learn from those lessons and the mistakes that we've made and grow from that. Like our losses are, to me, are wins. As an optimist, I'm going to say a loss is a win because I learned something, you know? Or you'd be like, oh, we got through obedience in the threes with no bite. Well, we didn't fucking pass, but who fucking cares?
But he didn't bite.
But he didn't bite. So, you know,
Huge
it's like,
win.
I'm going to take that win. I'm going to take that, like, that's the W that I'll take as opposed to, you know, the dog going, fuck you, and I'm just going to do whatever I want. Right? That's the lesser of evils, but that means we're on the road to success. It means we're getting in that direction, right? So losing is part of the game. You have to be okay with losing. You know, don't throw hissy fits. You know, just be as regal as you can about it and lose with honor. Lose with grace. Number 8, thou shalt read the rule book.
Big one.
Big one. I never ask when I'm doing handlers meetings if competitors have read the rule book, because I'm always so disappointed. And so I don't want to even know, because it's just going to, like, now I'm thirsty. Like, it puts a bad taste in your mouth. It just, you're literally setting up to do something. You've spent so much time getting ready for this with your dog, and you don't know what you should and shouldn't do when people show up with the wrong equipment. Like, here's a tip and a trick. Take the equipment that you plan to use for trial and show it to a judge, or message a judge online, or message, hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm a judge. Message me, hey, Jonathan, can I use this equipment? Is this good? People come out, the rule book states a 1.5 to 2 inch agitation collar, and people come out all the time with a 1 inch collar. And I'm like, seriously? And they're like, we'll I have another one in the car. They're panicking because they're supposed to step on the field right now. So they're panicking. I'm trying to stop them from panicking. Go get the other collar. Someone get him a collar. They come back, it's the same thickness of collar. First of all, don't do bite work on 1-inch collars. It's not thick enough to disperse the weight to make it comfortable enough on the dog. Like, just, first of all, don't do that. So that would solve that problem. But, like a 1.5 to 2-inch agitation collar, right? So reading the rule book is super important. If we don't read the rule book, how do we know exactly, when I'm getting ready to go through a level 3 routine, doesn't matter who the judge is, I'm getting ready to go. I'm waiting for them to set up. They're finishing setting up. I have gone on my phone. I have pulled up the PSA rulebook, and I have scrolled all the way to the 3s, and I have turned my phone off and put it back in my pocket because I don't want to be disrespectful to the judge. Okay? Now, if the judge asks me to do something and I go, I don't think that's kosher, or I don't like that picture, depending on what the situation is, I'm going to go to my phone. And do you know how many times I'm like, they can't do that? And I go to my phone and I'm like, doesn't say they can't, which is called a gray area, which means that they can. Okay? Only if it says that you have to, do you have to? And only if it says is you can't, you can't. Everything else is gray. There's not as much gray in there's no gray in the PDC. Gray is, PDC is black and white. No gray, right? Like very straightforward. Level 2, a little bit of gray. Level 3, all gray, just all different shades of gray, right? Heather's wearing gray. It's just all different lights and darks and, institutional grays and whatever. So, please just read the rule book. I beg of you. Like, if you could do me one favor, just read the rule book. That's Commandment 8. Commandment number 9. Thou shalt respect the host and their field.
Ooh, yeah.
So this is like club stuff. When you're on someone else's turf, you come with respect. You clean up after yourself. When you're at your own home, you should clean up after yourself, right?
Right.
When Heather has to go in and clean up after a night of fun training, she's not your mother. Clean up after yourselves. Make sure that you picked up all your shit. I'm a smoker. So you know what I do? I pinch off my cigarettes and I put them in something and I throw them away. I never put them on the ground. It is disrespectful. I held a trial one time and I rented it was in Chicago. I rented a state field. And when I was done with the trial, I look over and this chick had been chain smoking all day long and just butts everywhere. There was literally, she must have smoked an entire pack of cigarettes in like a 6-7 hour period and just threw them all over the floor. And I looked at one of her club members. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I'm already breaking down the trial and now I have to clean up after you. Like, I've cleaned up after her. So he stayed and like panicked, because I was making a big deal about it and helped clean up. But like, just respect the people, I see all the time people in the PSA group are like, how do you get people to pick up their shit after a trial? And you're like, well, part of it is it's just going to happen. Not everyone's going to do it. So you also have to be realistic and be like, this is a product of life. You want to host a trial, you're going to have to pick up some shit. You're going to have to do some shit. That's fine. How can we encourage people to pick up after themselves? Heather goes around and puts up poop bucket stations. So it's literally right there. If it's fucking staring at you, then you can't get, like, if I have to walk all the way to the other end, I'm probably just going to collect a pile next to the vehicle. And then as I'm going out, put it all in a bag and throw it away. I'm not going to like do all that walking with all the walking I already have to do.
Right. But you still pick it up.
But you pick it up and you put it in a designated place. And then when it's time to go, or if there's a place close enough to throw it out, you go and you throw it out. It's like my parents taught me when I went to like my friends' houses for meals. It's like, clean up after yourself, clean up your plate, offer to take other people's plates, offer to do the dishes. The most anyone's going to ever accept from you in that moment is, I'm a little kid, but in this scenario, right? Like, I clean up my plate. They're not going to have me like sit up there and actually scrub the dishes, but nonetheless, you still offer, you clean up, right? Like as a sign of respect, when I go to trials or my friends are hosting trials, I always donate to the raffles. Like all the time I'm donating to raffles because it's my thank you for hosting a trial. It's, you know, it helps fund the trial. And so if I can be helpful in this moment by donating something, then I'm happy that I can do it. Right? You know? Number 10, the 10th commandment. And this commandment actually came up because I was judging a trial. It was the same trial of the guy that corrected the dog on the field and started a fight with me. And then him and his buddy stood on the sideline for the rest of the day, like mean mugging me. I was like, I felt like I wanted to jump over the fence and just like tackle them both, just like start fighting the two of them because it was really bothering me. I'm literally trying to do my job. Violence is never the answer. I just held my shit together and got through it. But, you know, it's like, it can make your job really hard and really frustrating. So this happened, you know, the same is bitches and heat go last in trial. It doesn't say it in the rule book. And I wanted to DQ a guy so bad because he went third of 15 PDCs. And I'm like, all the dogs are sniffing after and they're like, oh, his dog is in heat. And I'm like, are you serious? And right away, I'm like angrily scrolling my phone looking for the rule that states, now it's a PDC handler. If it was a level 1 handler, I would have said that's cheating. And you should know better than that. But it doesn't state it in the rule book. He's a PDC handler. He's a baby handler. So because it doesn't state in the rule book that it is like as a rule, whether bitches and heat go last in ring, like you're going to go last at the end of the day. You know, like, I don't know how they do it in Mondio, but I know in French ring, showing my females, like, you're going to go at the end of the day when everyone else is gone. You know, I don't know how they do it in Schutzen. Please drop in the comments and let me know how they do it in other sports. But, you know, for PSA, you go last in your level. So because you'd be like, well, and then furthermore, I move the cone. So let's say it was going to be a PDC to a 1. I'm going to run the PDCs. I can't reset up like after the 3, set up 1 PDC. When you're getting something set up, you set it all up at once. So you go at the end. And so, you know, 15 PDCs, you go as number 15, and then boom, we set up for the 1s. We're going to move the cones over a little bit. So even though the dog has been on the field, the dog could have been on the field, you know, rubbing themselves all over an open field. So there can be the dog in the parking lot. There could be a dog in the area. It shouldn't be in the exact down that I may be laying in. To me, that's not fair. This is already hard enough. You're not there to me as a competitor. I'm not there to make it harder for you. Right? So this is a huge pet peeve of mine. And I couldn't do anything. And I said to him after, I go, hey, just so you know, out of respect to the other competitors, because it goes to sportsmanship. Again, if you don't know, you don't know. It is what it is. But just so you know, bitches and heat go last. Right? So we put together our 10. This is like, you know, talking about actually trialing, like respecting the host. But going to people's fields, it's like anything else, you know. Above all, you know, the first one was the easiest to write. You know, number 2, and then it kind of got harder as we went down, you know, trying to specify, but respecting the dog, right? And then I polled Instagram. So I asked my Instagram followers, like, what would be your commandment? So I'm just going to go through and just read the random and we can say whether we agree with it or not. There you go. No matter the sport, read the damn rule book. I said it more biblical, you know, thou shalt read the rule book. But yes, read the damn rule book. Enjoy your dog. No matter what happens on or off the field, they're still your best friend. That's from Kona Gus Bandit. That is always enjoy the dog. Mm-hmm. That's what we're here for. We're doing dog sports because we like having fun with our dogs.
Yep. This
isn't a narcissist contest of like, what can I get this poor defenseless animal to do for me to make me look good? Like, no, I'm just having fun with my dog. Don't skip the basics. Foundation is key. Thou shalt not wash a dog just because you don't know how to work an issue and will adapt. So that goes back to the washout episode. Mm-hmm. That was a good episode. I like that episode. Thou shalt not wash the dog because you're not capable. That's the washing the trainer, washing the handler. Would your dog wash you? Have fun with your dog. Yaga Jeff 39 said, have fun with your dog. Again, that's the most important thing. You should be having fun and the dog should be having fun.
Right.
And I didn't know this when I first got into dog sports. No one explained this to me. No one was like, hey, just so you know, you're supposed to be having fun. So for everyone in internet land, in case no one has told you, this is supposed to be fun. If you have never competed in the sport and or level, keep your mouth shut. Shout out to Cindy. Cindy Blue 86. Keep your mouth. That was that with that Long Island accent. Yeah. If you never competed in the sport and or level, keep your mouth shut. Love you, Cindy. Mm-hmm. Shut the fuck up. Like, people are always talking about things that they have never done and never even attempted to do. And like, shut the fuck up and just grind. Like, if you're trying to build a reputation for yourself, you do it through hard work. You do it with proving what you're capable of, not by boasting and showing off. Every person I've ever seen come onto the scene and is like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. They've all fizzled out. I've seen them all go. They're all gone. Heather, are any of them still around?
No.
And new ones will come. They'll be gone again.
Yep.
Not your standard schnauzer says, this is a good one, Heather. Stand up during your critique. Shake judge's hand, and in big parentheses, huge parentheses, if safe to do so. Thank the judge. That's a phenomenal one. So for me, I always make sure it's a hot day out. I'm bald, so I have to wear a hat. Otherwise, I burn myself, right? When the judge comes over for the critique, the first thing I do, I take my hat off, right? Out of a sign of respect for this judge that I asked. I signed up for this. I paid money for this. I bought a scorebook and I brought it there. I asked you to judge me. I am giving you honor and respect, right? Stand up. Put the dog in a behavior, a sit or a down. Like, demonstrate that even at the end, even when you're not being judged anymore, you can still fail. The dog can still go out of control. And if the dog tries to bite me, I'm technically, that's why she said, if safe to do so. Like, to be honest with you, as a judge, we always had to shake people's hands. It was always customary to shake people's hands. COVID happened, and then we still held trials, no handshaking. And I was like, oh, okay, this is really cool because there's no chance of me getting bit. People are so focused on staring at you and making eye contact out of human respect. You're going to make eye contact with someone when you shake their hand, or you're going to like look down at their hand. You're going to interact with this. You have now taken all of your attention away from the dog. So let's say the dog's a little bit spicy. I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to reach out, but I'm still going to keep an eye on the dog. I'm going to plane out and I'm going to reach out and I'm going to shake the judge's hand. When we were in Montana, I went over and shook Katie Wan's hand. She's the apprentice judge. When Risa was here apprenticing, or Courtney was here apprenticing, I also went over and shook the apprentice judge's hand out of respect. They didn't, their score doesn't matter to me, but they are a judge on that. They are an apprentice judge on that field. And so I am going to give them the respect that I would give them if they were an actual judge, because they have earned to this right, to this point, to be able to be out there and be judgmental. Right? I'm like, I'm just going to stand here and be judgmental all day. Not all issues are training issues. I would agree with that statement. It's a very broad statement, but, try not to replicate fucking videos online. Go to a respectable trainer in person. So that's like imposter syndrome, like just mimicry, you know. I definitely agree with that. You know, you can see a concept, but if it's something that strikes you, I would then go and learn, especially if it's something complicated. If it's something that could really be detrimental or ruin the dog, like people are like, oh, we're going to do this technique because I learned this from this. You know, I saw it on a video once, or I learned it once. If it's a really like, you know, if it's a very harsh technique, you know, depending on what the technique is, like, you might want to know more about that before you do it. You know, we had in class today a light bulb moment for a student and dog, and it was like watching the dog go from I am not going to do this to like I am now going to offer this behavior over and over and over again was amazing. I shed a tear. The student shed a tear, like all happy tears, right? Have fun with your dog. Yes, that is so that's a constant. I'm just reading off different ones, right? I have a few pages of this, like, you know, that's the key thing. Always have fun with the dog. If you or your dog is not having fun, stop. There you go. So either have fun with your dog, or also if you're not having fun with your dog, you should stop. And I also truly agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, dog sports are not for everyone. You don't have to just do it because your friends do it. You can still get together with your friends and train, and you can train for something else. You don't have to do dog sports. This is volunteer work. Like, this is volunteerism. This is you're donating your time to come out and stand out in the heat and do all this shit. Don't inherit other people's opinions. Form your own. Chaos Canine, that is a phenomenal piece of advice. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read it again. Don't inherit other people's opinions. Form your own. Do you know how many times I've like, you know, been at a trial and I walk by someone and I smile, right? And they just like make eye contact and they look away. And I'm like, oh, you're friends with someone that doesn't like me. And I'm like, it is what it is. You're not going to make everyone happy, and that's fine, right? That's just a fact of life. No one that's ever been successful has had everyone like them. You know, Heather hates Tom Brady. Like, and he's been super successful.
Go Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, yes. The true GOAT.
The GOAT.
Always know where the camera is. Haha, no, just kidding. Always respect the 3-foot rule on and off the field. When they say 3-foot rule, they mean a 3-foot bubble. I mean, on and off the field. On the field, yes. Thou shalt respect the 3-foot bubble. Off the field, fuck that. We train the only thing that constitutes that you should not take this pressure of in obedience is if the decoy touches you or the decoy touches me. Everything else is not a bite. They're not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. They can do that all day long. I'm not touching you. Right? So we don't 3-foot bubble off the field. This is my opinion. You do whatever makes you happy. I will tell you that even though the 3-foot bubble is really important and the decoys are always made aware of it, but like, I'm not walking around with a ruler. It happens. It turns into 2.5 feet. It turns into 2 feet. You know, so like when we added, that was a rule that I helped add. Like when we added the 3-foot bubble, it was to make trialing fair. Like decoys used to strive like videos of decoy straddling Uzi, like sitting on him. Like, you know, that's not fair. That's bullshit. Right? So this is one, I agree with half of it. I don't agree with it. And always know where the camera is. Haha. Always show up early, be engaged, and help clean up when club is over. So for a club, for sure, always show up early, be engaged, or, you know, be there as early as you possibly can. We start club at 5 o'clock. A lot of people work till 5. So like, we also understand the fact I can't work any later because I've been teaching from 9 a.m. I can't, like, I just can't do 13, 14-hour days. My body can't handle it anymore. And especially talking all day, teaching all day, right? You know, Isaiah's doing bite night, right? This is a Thursday night. Isaiah's doing bite night. He's phenomenal. He's got that covered. You know, we go in, we do a pop-in, but I'm really useless. Other than like, oh, Jonathan, what do we do with this? Or write us a scenario. I'm kind of useless in that moment. Isaiah's got it, right? So we're here recording because I try to be in the studio as much as I can. Unfortunately, there's just only so much time in the day. Thou shalt not argue with the judge during the critique. The second that you're arguing with the judge over what they saw, like, it's over, bro. Just stop it. And I'll tell people, like, just stop it. Nothing you're going to do is going to change anything.
Just making it worse.
You know, roll your eyes all you want at me, but I didn't train the dog. You did it, right? Thou must train in random fields and parks. Austin, dog culture. Yes.
Yes.
That is a phenomenal piece of advice. And that's why your dog has such beautiful obedience on the field, because you're always generalizing obedience, right? Obviously, the communication is really good, but I'm saying the fact that the dog is generalized to all those distractions from just pulling out into random fields. The dog associates doing obedience with doing obedience. She doesn't come out thinking, oh my God, I'm going to bite right now. That's the dogs that come out thinking I'm going to bite. Those are dogs that put down shitty obedience scores, even if they hold it together, but still you don't have 100% focus, right? Always have your e-collar in your hand. When using it, yes, timing. We have 1.3 seconds between cause and effect. And so we have to try to stick within those 1.3 seconds. And if the remote is in your pocket, it takes more than 1.3 seconds to go in and reach it. Sanya, my love from India, said, reach out to people for help. Align yourself with people who are in the kind of sport competition. It cuts off the rest of it. You collect more flies with honey than you do vinegar. And I think that goes back to like sportsmanship, you know, like I'm going to be brutally honest here. Like Sanya is from India, and India is a very, like the culture is very specific, and women are not very, you know, respected. And she's an amazing trainer, and she's assistant director of India, and she's like helped put so much together. She comes and she'll, you know, like secretary of trial for people that have been mean to her, like just to help the sport, you know? And so, but because of her tenacity and because how much she cares and how much she loves, like she's fought through it and she's won, right? And, you know, like being made an assistant director as a thank you for all your hard work, for like, you know, being on the other side of the world and helping so much get run, you know, because PSA is huge in India. Like every trial is filled up. You know, I can go there and spend, you know, months just, you know, judging trials. 3 Bullies and a Blonde says, clean up after your fucking dog. Yes.
Yes.
We always thought about, what if we did the poop raffle idea?
I like that
So
idea.
every bag of poop you bring, the problem is where do you keep the poop? Because then it's going to smell. Can we like put the poop bucket like at a distance and be like, okay, just get someone's attention. Every poop bag you bring to the bucket, we're going to give you a ticket. And it's its own separate raffle. It's not a ticket for the regular raffle. It's going to be its own specific item. What do you think about that? And every time you bring a poop, you know, it could work. It could work using positive reinforcement to get people to, you know, to clean up after themselves. Don't kill the hope. Don't keep hope alive. Hope isn't really important. Don't be a dick. That's Heather's favorite one. Don't be a dick. I agree with that. Do not be a dick. Be kind to your animals. Mm-hmm. A lot is done in the name of, you know, dog training that, you know, is not always the fairest to the animal. And that's why we keep always putting it back on. It's never the dog's fault. It's our fault. We didn't teach it right. You know, thou shalt like it hot. I like it hot. For anyone that doesn't know, hot, handler owner trained. There's an award in trial. You have hit, high end trial, you have club award, and then you have hot handler owner trained. It means you titled your own dog, right? So all of my dogs are handler owner trained, and all of my club dogs are handler owner trained. We are race car drivers, and we build our own race cars. We don't go out and purchase pre-built race cars. If that makes you happy, whatever makes you happy, right? But that's not for me. To me, it takes all the joy out of it. You know, like raising a puppy is just...
It's the journey.
It's the journey. The journey is thou shalt enjoy the journey. That was a good one, Heather. We got a few more. Always be welcoming to newcomers. You were a newcomer at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Be nice. You know, don't be mean girl. Don't be Regina George.
Nobody likes mean girls.
No one likes a mean girl. Only other mean girls like mean girls. And they're all just really terrified of each other, right? The whole thing is just sickening. Just fucking be nice to people. Mean people suck.
Yeah.
You know? And enjoy the sport and remember why you got into it. That goes back to, like, again, this is fun. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder in relation to you loving your dog for who they are. Yes, you don't have to like my dog. It's my dog.
Mm-hmm.
I like my dog. You know, people are like, Uzi had a bitch tail, right? For anyone who doesn't know what a bitch tail is, like when a dog has a really high set tail. I thought it made him look beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that high set tail. To me, it's a sign of confidence, right? That's just like, I'm confident enough to stick my butthole in the air and ain't no one going to touch it, right? That's confidence. Trust the process. You have to trust the process. You have to go through the process. You have to believe in the process. Now, you know, if we train correctly, we should see glimpses of hope. We should see behavior start to come together. We should see success. But if you're going through it and you're having 3 or 4 bad sessions because you're working through something, you know, before you have that extinction burst and before the dog actually comes in and, you know, and has the behavior, or you start to see the behavior, like, just trust the process. As long as what you're doing is correct communication. Don't trust a shitty process. Trust a good process. So, like, if you're on a system, someone's teaching you a system and they're like, just trust the process, and you trust that system, that's all you can do. You just got to stick with it. Be coachable.
Oh, that's a big one.
Ooh, be fucking coachable. A lot of people are not coachable. People are assholes, or people are yeah buts, right? You know, Jonathan, I have a question. If the dog does this, and I go, well, yeah, but there's always an answer. There's always but, right? Like, if you ask me for my opinion, listen, and then tell me to go fuck myself. But at least listen. Don't, like, stop me while I'm talking after you just asked me for advice. You solicited advice. I'm giving you advice. Don't cut me off. For any trainer, it's rude. Don't ask someone for help and then tell them, yeah, but now they need information to be able to help you. But have respect for your dog, your club members, and the sport. That was a bunch of the commandments all put together. Reward your dog. Thou shalt reward your dog. Yes. The dog you already own is capable of way more than you think. That's a phenomenal one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. I think dogs are always capable of more than we give them credit for. But it's also our job to teach them that they are capable of more. Mm-hmm. Right? Compare your dog to the dog it was in yesterday's training, not to other people's dogs. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Do not compare yourself to other people. Compare to from where you started to where you started from the bottom. Now we're here. Mm-hmm. Right? That's a phenomenal one. I really like that one. It's you and your dog against the amount of points available. Everything else is just noise. Thou shalt keep their points. Thy points. I like that. Measure Oh, make sure you don't trial with 2 broken hands. That's a good piece of advice. I don't know how you'd hold a leash, but that's definitely one to do. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We have something fun. This is the Dogma collar. This is my e-collar strap design. It's made for a bilateral setup, so it's made for double box. It keeps the boxes on each side, and we have a clip for trial day, so we can condition and decondition. We also have a Dogma sticker bundle. Okay. And I wanted to do our first kind of interactive. I would like for you to post in the YouTube comments, what is your commandment? Thou shalt not, right? I'm going to go through after about a week after we post it. I'm going to go through. I'm going to pin our favorite one to the top, and then they are going to win a Dogma bundle.
Nice.
Right? I'm really curious on what other people's opinions are, and what are your what things did we miss? Right? I think we got a lot, but there's definitely more we could talk about. We could just go into like pet peeves. I think that could be a separate episode, pet peeve. This is more like very specific towards dog sports, right? Whereas just dog training in general, we could do dog training pet peeves, right? Shout out to my buddy Joey Victorian. For anyone that's ever coming into Mart to come to Dogma, we have a phenomenal barbecue spot.
So good.
This is Artisan Barbecue. He cooks all week to serve Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He is open from, I think it's like 11 or 11:30 till sold out. And most of the time it sells out pretty quickly. And so I was in there the other day. I saw he was open and I had some free time and I went in and I just had to, I hadn't had the brisket in a while. I needed a piece of brisket. And I saw the hat and I was like, I need to have this hat. This is my hat. So
yeah, it's a cool hat.
Shout out to you, Joey. If you're coming to visit Dogma, that is definitely on our Dogma list of eat spots. Friday, school's a half day. Like you can leave class or, Thursday during lunch, run over there and grab some brisket, grab some ribs. Starting to kind of highlight things about Mart that we love. And that is one of my favorite things about Mart,
Definitely.
When we first moved here and I saw the sign and he was just building the place and I'm like, I went online, go on Instagram, I look it up and I'm like, I am determined for me and this person to be friends, right? Like we are going to be friends. I love barbecue and hopefully he likes me. He likes dogs. And so, I always send everyone in there. It's really cool, just like, students go on their lunch break and go over and eat. And he's like, what are you guys doing in town? Such, friendly, him and his wife and his whole staff are so friendly. Takis mac and cheese, so good. One day he made me, my favorite is beef ribs. He made me a beef rib and that was just like,
delicious.
That was absolutely a die for. So shout out to you, Joey. Appreciate you. And, I really hope everyone enjoyed this episode. If you have, please like, follow, and share. And, wait for the next episode. Thank you.